back Josh Jacobs. Chris, are you buying low or selling high on Josh Jacobs?
Well, Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt, last season finished as the RB8 in fantasy football. James, you and I have had plenty of discussion discussing this player in the past 2 weeks, especially with the signing of Kenyon Drake, who you don't believe is going to be a factor in the production of Josh Jacobs. RB8 was his best finish in his 2 year career. In 15 games played last season, he finished with 12 rushing TDs, 1,065 yards on 273 carries, which is great. He saw an uptick in volume from 242 carries to 273, a 30 carry bump. The issue I find with Josh Jacobs' value for fantasy is the snap percentage. Week 1 of last season was his biggest share at 78%. Other than that, he hardly broke 68%, other than week 11 where he saw a share of 75%. Also, his yards per carry also went down to 3.9 yards per carry, which isn't that great for a guy who sees a lot of touches. In 2020, Josh Jacobs found success due to his 12 touchdowns. Not to forget the grimy move he pulled week 1 of fantasy playoffs when he mentioned on his Twitter and Instagram that he wouldn't be playing in the game, but then in turn played the game, didn't have a good game, but still played the game and screwed over a lot of fantasy owners. With this, Josh Jacobs, in my eyes, is a sell high target. If you can grab a solid wide receiver 1 or a productive running back 2 and an early first and try to take advantage of a manager that is in a running back needy situation, that will see Josh Jacobs as a clear-cut running back 1, which to me he is just not. So Josh Jacobs is a sell high going into the 2021 fantasy football season.
Okay, I like it. I do. I agree he's a sell if you can. I don't think you're going to get that value that you see it because a lot of people are seeing the same thing right now that you're seeing and they're afraid of Kenyon Drake. In my eyes, am I totally afraid of Kenyon Drake? I'm not. And I'll explain why I'm not because they've always had a backup running back there. They've never really given Josh Jacobs the rock to
But
start
have
with.
they though?
They've had running backs. I'm not saying they
But
were good
not
running backs.
at
They're not.
the
They're not
not at
Drake.
the
No, you're
yeah,
right. They're
exactly.
not Drake. Drake is better than any of the ones that they've had, but they've always had them and they use them. Jalen Richard, they use. They always give him
Mhm.
the ball. He was getting it. Like so. How much of a role is Drake gonna play? Is he the Jalen Richard? I think he'll probably get a little bit more, which is probably going to lower Josh Jacobs' numbers. I still think Josh Jacobs the guy. I've also heard some rumors that they want to put Drake as the wide receiver on some plays out there. So it's going to be interesting on how they play him. But yeah, I agree. If you can sell Josh Jacobs now, I think you should. I just don't think anyone's going to give you the value that you think he's at, and you may have to go a little bit lower. If you can get a first round rookie draft pick for Josh Jacobs in the top half of the draft, I think I'd take that too right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
But is
I'm
that a
agreeing with
sell
you.
high? Is that selling high, or is that selling for proper value? Right. So you're not really selling high
You could
at a
try.
first round draft pick,
Yeah, oh yeah,
but
I would. Well, you're selling as high as you can get, I think, at this point.
yeah. But so you're selling for proper value. What you want to try to do is find a manager that needs that running back
Yeah.
and try to take advantage of their situation. Right.
But you probably are that manager that needs a running back if your Josh Jacobs is your white running back 1. That's the problem.
That's also true.
So, but yes, all right, good. I like it. Let's go to number 2, another running back Joe Mixon. He had a rough year last year, and Nick, I believe this is to you. Are you buying low or selling high on Joe Mixon?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, as we all saw last year with Joe Mixon, he just couldn't stay on the field. He played a total of 6 games, and he only ended up with having 78 fantasy points. While he did start with Joe Burrow at the beginning of the year, he didn't look totally like the old school Joe Mixon that we've seen, the really prolific type of running back that we know Joe Mixon can be. But I mean, it was getting there as he started to gel with Joe Burrow. Then he got hurt, and we basically never saw him again for the rest of the season. So at this point, I mean, with what just happened, I kind of see Joe Mixon as a buy low type of running back. I mean, you can get guys on other teams who have Joe Mixon that and say, you know, he's coming off these injuries. I don't know if he can still stay healthy. I don't know how many games I'm going to get. I mean, he's only really played one season of a full season at 16 games in his 4 years of on the Bengals. So, you know, there is those injury issues there. So I definitely would buy him lower than I would buy a top stud running back that I know is going to play, is healthy, is efficient, and not getting injured, rather than Joe Mixon. That being said, though, I think Joe Burrow gelled well with the team. I mean, he got hurt at the end too, but he was doing well. And I think that if Cincinnati does draft well and helps that O-line, I could see an uptick in Joe Mixon, which I think will help him in his game. So if I can buy this guy low, knowing that they're going to have more pieces for Joe Burrow, they're going to have better O-line to protect these guys and to protect the running backs, I think Joe Mixon can excel again and show those true numbers where he was putting up almost 200 fantasy points this season. So I'm trying to buy him low. Right now, what's low though? You know, if I can get him for some lower end draft picks, probably not a first, maybe a first because he's of his age in dynasty leagues and that stuff. But I mean, you know, second round, third round, and I'm taking the gamble on a guy that I know can run rather than taking a rookie. I'm taking that bet. So I'm definitely buying Joe Mixon low this year, hoping that he turns it around and becomes a big boom.
All right, I like that too. I agree with the buy low. I think you're way too low on your buy though. I don't think anyone is going to give you Joe Mixon at that low of a price. And if they are, please introduce them to me because I could work magic with them.
Don't do it, Jake. Don't do it, Nick. You're going to sour your relationship with that person because they're going to feel bad after talking to James, buddy. Don't do it.
If you could get a second for Joe Mixon out of him, I could get a fourth. So that's fine. But I don't think anyone's going to do that. Especially, again, Joe Mixon's another guy that he's probably a running back one on a lot of these guys' teams, and it's going to be hard to do that. But, you know, if you can sway them with another running back or try to package him and someone else to give them a little bit of a better guy and they think they're getting someone better, I mean, that's an option too. I like him. I think he's going to bounce back. They just got rid of Gio Bernard. So right now they don't have a backup in mind as of right now, aside from whoever else was there and unless they draft anybody. So he's going to get the ball a lot. And he was, from what I remember before the injury, he had the most carries of all running backs to start the season before he got hurt. Did that lead to the injury? Nobody really knows because when he got hurt, he was seen dancing. And then all of a sudden we never saw him again with, I think it was turf toe, but nobody really even knows what the heck it was. So he's fully healthy now, and yeah, I'd like to see what he's going to do. So I agree with that.
I think he was on vacation last season, right?
No, he played a little bit, but yeah, we know the injury was phantom. I think that was the one that we're still trying to figure out.
He was spotted on Lou Lamorello Island with John.
Oh, Lou's jumping over to football now. Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. You got a one-way ticket.
For anyone who doesn't know who Lou Lamorello is, he's the GM of the New York Islanders. It was the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the joke on Lou Lamorello Island is that a lot of players on the Leafs happen to have magical injuries, long-term injuries, and vanished, and we never saw them again. So we were under the impression that there's an island that Lou owns, and he ships these players there so we don't have to see them because they weren't very good, and their cap space goes away, and we can pick up better players in that run. So we don't know the exact of it, but if you see Lou Lamorello, he looks like a mob boss, and he can scare the crap out of a lot of people. So this, works
Definitely
out.
got his own island.
Let's move to number 3. Another running back on this list, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And this one's to myself, buy low or sell high. I am a Clyde Edwards-Helaire drafter. I drafted him in a league last year as the I think it was my second pick overall in the draft. I was really high on him, hoping he'd come out. I know my fellow cohort here, Chris, was not very high on him and told me he was a bust. Told me I should stay away from him, and I didn't listen to him, and he wasn't a full-on bust, but he was pretty much a bust by the end of the year.
In that format, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think PPR, he had a little bit of a better run.
Yeah.
I think he's a buy low, And the reason for that is because of what I just said. I think a lot of fantasy managers aren't quite sure what he is in that offense. They weren't happy because of the hype that was there. He was supposed to be RB1. That's what everyone drafted him for. They thought he was going to be the next big thing, and he wasn't even RB rookie one. Jonathan Taylor was there, and Gibson was better than him. Dobbins ended up by the end of the year was better than him. So, James Robinson, like, so he was what, 5, maybe 6 on the rookie running back list. A full year under the KC offense, could he do better? I think so. I buy low. I would see what happens. He's very young running back. He was specifically asked for by Patrick Mahomes to be there, and I think that they're going to use him a little bit more this season. So if you can get him low, what's low? I mean, you're probably still going to cost you maybe a high end second or a low end first to get him. You could probably get him for a wide receiver 1, maybe on a shittier team if a guy is really desperate, but and wants to move him, or a wide receiver and maybe a third, something like that. But you have to see what your players are. But if you can get him, go out there and go, because I think he'll have a better year than he did last year. Number 4 on this list, another running back. Hey, this one hits a little close to home. Running back Ezekiel Elliot, and we made sure the Cowboy fans weren't answering this question because we didn't want to be biased. So we moved it over to a guy who his team's horrible, but he knows running backs because of Barry. So Frank, take it away.
Yeah, Barry, Billy Sims. This one was This was kind of intriguing one because Zeke, after last year, he had a terrible season, and it seems that his value has dropped. James, I think just recently you drafted him. What round was that? Was that the?
I got him in 2 Devi Dynasty drafts. I'm pretty sure it was round 3 and 4 is where I was picking him up, and I was just amazed that he was still there. I was like, all right,
exactly. Sure. So that right there just shows you in 2 drafts he's dropped so much in value. So at this point, you can definitely, I think you can buy him low because now he's just going to explode once he's back with Dak. It'd be perfect for a guy like you, James, because you're the kind of guy that can get the most out of any kind of a trade. So you can sell him low, you can buy him high. You can do anything with him. You can sell all the little points. You can sell why you're not going to give up too much for him, and you can talk somebody up to give you their whole team for him. So for me personally, I would definitely buy him at the price he is right now, just because it's such a bargain. With, like I said, with Dak back in the fold, I could see Zeke returning to the Zeke of old, being another top guy. So the sky's the limit with that offense. He can easily be. He has a great chance to be RB1 again. Another one of those 1,500 yard seasons.
Yeah.
So, like, what's to say he can't? So, for me personally, I'm buying him low. Even if I had him to sell, I would still sell high too. So, if that makes sense, because it's kind of up to the values in the eye of the beholder. You can say.
Yep. I agree with that.
It just varies so much. There's so much unknown of the future. You need a fortune teller to tell you what's going to happen with Zeke. It's just all over the place.
No, I agree with that. If I can get him low, I'm buying him low as well. I think he's going to bounce back. I know there's that sort of stigma that running backs over the age of 24, that's when they start to go down, and who have been here, like, he's been running since he first started and came into the league. He hasn't stopped. So the wear and tear's got to be there, and people are probably thinking he's declining and whatnot. But with a full year of Dak back at the helm, and I mean the offensive line got banged up. I'm hoping they either sign that through free agency or whatnot and try to fix that throughout. But I think the old Zeke will be there. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Tony Pollard. He turned up. He turned up last year and did really well. And again, that's also a focal point that you could use in a buy low situation to say, well, maybe they're going to go a little bit committee style, right? Put that into your little negotiation to try to get Zeke a little bit lower. That's what I would do, and see what you can do from there. So if you were trying to sell high, it's going to be a tough sell to sell high. I know you mentioned that you think I could, Frank, and thank you. Usually I could sell something, but I'd have to do a lot of prep work and a lot of talking weeks in on to get that one to go. But
Get some
yeah,
leads.
definitely a buy low for me.
Mhm.
The next one, wide receiver Michael Thomas. Chris, are you buying low or selling high on Michael Thomas? This is your boy.
I really wish this guy wasn't here, as I was going to start planting the seed with Michael Thomas, owner Frank here, and make my move to buy MT at a discounted price coming off a not so great 2020 season. So I'm going to talk about Jerry Jeudy. 28 years old, in his wide receiver prime. Other than his 2020 season, Mike Thomas hasn't finished outside the top 10 of fantasy producing wide receivers. Jump on Mike T if you can. Hope a manager will sell for a single late rookie first. Play on the fact that the reason he was successful as he was because of Drew Brees. Jameis Winston is no slouch. He's produced 1,000-yard wide receivers in Tampa Bay. If you have the opportunity to get the stack of Winston and Thomas, do it. Structured buy low trades for Mike T would look like Jalen Reagor and an early second, or maybe piece something together with a guy who had a great season last year, like Robbie Anderson, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, or a Chase Claypool, who's going to have a lot of competition in that offense, and who's might even lose Ben Roethlisberger after this next year. Plus, add that with a pick, or another way to do it would be a high end wide receiver 3 or a low end wide receiver 2 mixed in with a middle of the pack running back. And I think you would be cashing in on that at the end of the season. So Mike Thomas, to me, is a buy low. So Frank, hopefully you didn't hear any of that. And go get Mike T.
Why was my
Yeah.
headphones cut out? Did you guys do something? We re-record that? I didn't hear anything.
No, I wasn't saying anything, Frank. You're good.
Technical difficulties. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, folks.
Just don't listen to this part of the episode, Frank, when you get to it a little bit later.
No, he was
But,
talking about Jerry Jeudy. You're fine.
I
Yeah.
agree with you, Chris. I think he's a buy low if you can. I think you should push the fact that he's 28 years old, push the fact that he's an old, washed-up wide receiver, and try to get him for whatever you can. If you can flip a Jalen Reagor in a second for him, I think that's a
Yeah.
steal because
That's a
I don't know
steal.
what's going on there. But yeah, if he's out there, go get him if you can. Try to send some feeler offers and see see how low you can get him. Next on our list, another wide receiver here. This is wide receiver Henry Ruggs. Frank, are you buying low or selling high on Henry Ruggs?
Okay. Well, Henry Ruggs' value is definitely not what it was last year. I could be wrong, but to me, his value's less about his talent, because he's definitely got talent, but it's more about the system that he's in, and the coach and the quarterback wanted to make him a focal point of that offense. To draft a player at number 12 and barely even feature him at all for most of the season, it's not good on his Gruden and his system, at least as far as Jerry Jeudy goes. Or sorry, Henry Ruggs. See, you got Jerry Jeudy on my mind. Unless Gruden's going to change, or Carr's all of a sudden going to realize he wants to put a ton of targets towards Ruggs, I don't see how much is going to change. Last year Derek Carr finished the season with a top 5 on target rate on throws downfield and deep balls, and so Henry Ruggs didn't really do anything even with that. So, how did he not have a monster rookie season with all that? The offense just didn't seem to know what to do with him. He finished the season as the 98th graded wide receiver, and to me, it's extremely telling on his projected outlook for this year. He had a competent quarterback who was a great downfield passer, and every opportunity to start in a fairly deep depth chart. But he was outproduced by Nelson Aguilar, who ironically graded out as one of the worst first-rounders during his rookie season. His biggest knock coming out of college was his lack of production and his breakout age, and another lackluster season, it looks like we'll have to wait longer for either of those to happen. And I never want to sell low, personally, but there's a difference between that and just going down with the ship due to stubbornness. He was a first round pick, so maybe there's a little bit of value there that you can kind of play. But personally, I'd rather try and buy Brian Edwards over Ruggs right now. He's very intriguing right now. His combination of his situation, his size, and his college production. He's really interesting coming out of college. His breakout age was in the 99th percentile, and his college dominator rating was in the 94th percentile, both top shelf marks. So I think he's got much more value than Ruggs does at their current price tags anyway.
Nice. I like that. I drafted Edwards last year late in a round because I knew a lot of those stats, and he failed me. And I'm hoping he turns it around this year because he was injured a little bit, and he was coming off injury in college. I like your decision. I see why you would do it. I get it. He didn't have a good year. I had Ruggs on a few teams. I'm actually not going to do either. I would hold. And the reason why I'm holding is because I want to see another year out of Ruggs. There's no more other wide receivers to hurt him now. They've gotten rid of Aguilar. They've gotten rid of the others. So he should be the focal point again. And I think they're going to try to find him the ball a little bit more. And I want to see that. And I would hate to sell low, like you said, just because you don't want to go down with the ship and then this guy turn into something good. There is, before the last few seasons, wide receivers took a few years to develop. It took them some time to understand and get things, to know things. So you don't want to give up a little too early, but I get you're saying you don't want to be the late guy and be like, oh, now I'm not going to get anything for him.
Yeah.
So I'd hold one more year and see what I can do before fully releasing that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Next on our list is quarterback Carson Wentz. Buy low or sell high. And this one's for me. I am buying. Well, see, if I have him, I'm going to try and sell high on him. If I don't have him, I'm going to try and buy low on him. And I explain that to you. I would use the tactic that he's obviously had a bad couple of years to buy low. I would use the tactic that he hasn't been very good. You can see the numbers. You can see how bad he was. He forced himself out of Philadelphia and to try to move on. And I would try to present that in a way to where I could get him for cheap. I don't think you're going to be able to get him for cheap. That's the problem, because he's going to a team that has weapons, because he's going to his old coach. So with that being said, I like him as a QB2. I think I need to see a little bit more, and a little bit kind of scares me that he could still be the same Carson Wentz at the end of the day. So if you could sell him high based off the fact of all the weapons he's getting, I would do that as well. So I'm kind of in the middle on this. It all depends on where you are and your team. If you need a QB2 and you can get him for cheap, I'd go get him and buy low. But if he's your QB1 and you're probably rebuilding at this point, because if he's your QB1, you didn't have a good year last year, I'd probably try and sell him for as high as I can and see what you can get.
What would be a buy low package that you think someone would sell him for? So if I came to you trying to buy him low, because I think it would be tough to buy him low right now. Like what would be an offer that you would accept that would be a buy low option?
I probably a back end first. I mean,
So is that low?
end.
That low
Well, it's
for-
lower than it depends. See, if it's a 2 QB league that we're talking,
Then, yeah, that would
or a
be
super
low for a
flex league. I
starting
mean, that would be
QB.
a low end. I mean, if we're talking a 1 QB league, probably a 5th or a 6th, 4th rounder, somewhere there, a little bit later. In regards to players wise, it's tricky because when you're trading a QB, you're probably expecting a QB back. So it all depends on what you
Yeah,
have.
especially in a super flex, right?
Yeah, right.
So if
So
there's a
it's a little-
QB that you would you trade him for Daniel Jones? Would that be a buy low?
Chris loves the Ferrari.
You know what? If Daniel, if
he's
the
a
Giants,
he's a great talking point to compare. Like he's right in the middle, right?
yeah, if Daniel Jones gets the wide receiver that I said last week in our last episode, and they get that number 1 wide receiver there to pair with Golladay, I think Daniel Jones is going to have a better year this year. If that line stays healthy, if Barkley stays healthy, I think Daniel Jones is going to be better. I mean, I would maybe do Daniel Jones and something else if I can, just to to see. But yeah, I could try. I mean, you could try to go lateral and do Daniel Jones for Wentz, but I don't know if the Wentz owner will do that.
Yeah, exactly. You have to play a little bit of some tactics there, like you said. But
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be hard to buy. It's hard to buy a quarterback. I found, at least in Superflex leagues, it's hard to buy quarterbacks low.
Yeah,
Even
Tell
trying
me
to
about
purchase
it.
Deshaun Watson, it's tricky right now because the owner doesn't know what to sell Deshaun for. They don't know the value of the situation, what it's going to be, how long is he going to be out, if he's going to be out. So it's tricky.
you just got to throw some stuff at him and see what happens. I mean, I got Lamar Jackson from someone in this room, and I threw a bunch of stuff at you and forced you to say yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't a buy low.
No, it wasn't. But yeah,
No. Not a chance.
All right, next on the list here, we've got. I like this one. We're going back to the wide receivers. He was mentioned. Odell Beckham Jr. This one's to Nick. Are you buying low or are you selling high on Odell?
This is another guy that got hit hard with an injury last season. He got hit with the ACL, and he was out pretty much the whole year after that game. Honestly, at this point, I'm going to try and buy low as well, just like I said with Mixon. Issue with Odell Beckham Jr. is at the same time, he still has that name factor. That name factor alone will let a manager say, it's still Odell Beckham Jr. He could still turn into being that top wide receiver that we saw him be in New York. We could see him doing that with this offense. I mean, Baker started having a better year last year. Can Baker is he finally that throwing quarterback that's going to hit OBJ and make OBJ back to what we saw? I honestly don't see it. I don't think that even if Baker is now this throwing quarterback, there's a connection problem between Baker and OBJ, where he's trying to force the ball to OBJ too much, but I just don't see it happening where it's going to elevate OBJ's status, his stock. I can't see him being that top tier wide receiver unless he gets traded. That being said, a trade potential, I mean, there's been talks that he could be traded. So that is another factor you can bring into your own trade while you're deciding what you want to do with OBJ. But honestly, at this point, I think he is a buy low. He hasn't had the same numbers he used to have in New York as he had with Baker. It's just the connection's not working. He's coming off this ACL injury where, I mean, yeah, some wide receivers coming back off an ACL injury can become better than what they have, but he's also at an age where it's a little harder to recoup from an injury like that. So we'll have to see. He's a hardworking guy, so he's going to put in the work. He wants to get back on the field. I know we had a video that came out the other day or a few weeks back that he's already training and back at it. But again, I just don't see it, and I think I'd buy low on him.
All right. Yeah, no. If you can get him low, probably. I've been talking to you about this for a while, Nick. Since the injury, 30. Is he 31 now? And
Pretty sure he's 28.
Coming off 28. I thought he was a little older than that. Okay.
Pretty sure he's 28. But
Sorry, I aged him a little bit. Okay, so
just a tiny
either
bit.
way,
That's like
either
14
way.
years in football. He just
Trying to get him off you, Nick. Be careful.
yeah, he's planting the
He's
seeds.
planning it. He's trying.
Either way, okay, you're coming off a torn ACL. He's not the young guy he used to be. The younger guys can recover in a year, be ready to go and out the door. It's hard to do that, especially at the position that he runs. And I've heard other wide receivers say it. It takes them. They come back within the year, but then it takes them almost a full year to actually be back to themselves, being the fear in their mind, being, remembering what to do. Like, it's not like as if you could just step on the field day one of that year off and all cylinders go. So, yeah, I mean, but can he get back there? He is a guy that, you hope could. He's got the talent. He's got the skill.
Elite.
Yeah.
He's got a head problem, but that's a little different. And, so, yeah, if you can get him low, but what's low? Is a third round pick too low? Is that what you guys... Is it second?
Yeah,
is it
I
a
think
late
so.
second? Is it an early second, late second? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think at the least it'd have to be a second right now. Like I said, that name factor alone of OBJ, it's already higher than a third, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes him a sell high. I have OBJ as a sell high target just based on the name factor alone. Even if you're getting proper value for him right now, ultimately that's going to be a high sell. So I see him as an opposite. I don't think there's anybody that's going to chance on selling him low right now.
I agree.
I think he's a sell high.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I would be a buy low if I'm buying him, but you're right. If I have him on my team, I'm definitely going to try and sell him high because he still has that value there no matter what because of his name, because of what we've seen him do, because
The
of
name
skill,
recognition,
right?
yeah.
So I agree. I would
Which
sell
is
him
what
high.
Nick has been doing because I've been asking him what he would sell him for, and it has been pretty high. I'm not going to lie to you. So that's why
not
he's still
true.
on Nick's team.
What is it? What has it been?
I've
I
tried to
can't
sell
remember.
him
This was
in
a
a
while
keeper
ago.
league for a second round pick.
That was at the end of the year in a 4-keeper, and people weren't going to keep him anyways. That's the problem.
Hey, that's not high.
You gotta sell him. I'm talking. Keep him on your team this year, and then let's see what you get for him during the year when and then we'll see how high.
When you're selling again.
When I sell again, if I sell again at that point, I'm gonna ask again for a second round pick.
I didn't
Same
want to
thing
put
at
it
the
that
flat.
way, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one way to put it. All right, our next one, and this is wide receiver Kenny Golladay of the New York Giants. And this one's to me here. I am selling high on Kenny Golladay. I know all the information that's out there. I know that this Daniel Jones has that high rate percentage of deep throws, which is what Kenny Golladay likes. I know Kenny Golladay has looked good with Stafford and has put up great numbers, and he probably will put up some pretty good ones. But I think he's declining. He's 20. Greco, you could tell me, what is he, 28? 27?
I believe. I think it's 27.
Somewhere in that range. So I think he's a declining wide receiver. I think I had heard there was a lot of problems with him head-wise in what he was doing in Detroit, where he kind of just gives up on the plays there and doesn't fully finish the games or play for the team. And I think, Detroit might need will have a little bit of that at first because they're going to try. Sorry, not Detroit. The Giants are going to have that at first because they're not very good still. They're okay, but they're going to have to come into their own. And I think he's going to be. I think the number 2 wide receivers are going to do better than he will, especially in the first season. So if you can sell him high, especially for the name value, like everyone's saying, I would sell him high and see what you can get for him. Hopefully you can get maybe a younger wide receiver one and maybe a draft pick. Just in name value alone, and the fact that everyone's like, oh, he's going to go to the Giants, he's going to be the guy, and the guy he's going to be thrown to, and this, that, whatever. So, but yeah, that's where I'm going. Also, the injuries is another problem. He can't stay on the field very well. So,
I like it. I think he's the ultimate sell high right now.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting to see where that one goes. But I would love to see what some people get on that. And our last person, this one is a double here. We got Hurtz and Reagor from the Philadelphia Eagles, and this one's to Chris. Chris, what are you doing with these two? Are you buying high, selling low? It doesn't have to be a package. I'm just talking about the two of them in general.
I got you. I understand.
If you
Another
can find a
player that I
package
would
for
be. Yeah, another player that I would try and to target Frank going into the offseason, so I was hoping not to talk about him as well. I've already tried to get him off Frank, but his partner could put the kibosh on that. So to me, Jalen Hurts is a holds. With the confidence it seems from the organization, Hurts is going to be set up to succeed in Philadelphia, giving his rushing ability. Hurts is poised to end the year as a top 15 QB option when the dust settles on the 2021 season. If you are rich at the position in a Superflex league, he is another ultimate sell high target. I don't know of any situation where you can really buy him low. Unless there is an owner that has maybe 4 QBs, he's the 4th. They need a running back. They need a high-end wide receiver. You might be able to play on something like that. If you can get Deshaun Watson in a swap and you want the high risk, high reward of that whole situation, that might be a deal that you might want to jump on. When moving a player like Jalen to sell high, I try to target QB needy teams over teams without the need of a QB because ultimately you're going to get the better value for your dollar. Selling high only really works if the manager you are dancing with is in need of what you are selling. As for Reagor, he is a wide receiver heading into the second year of the NFL, but his first full year of an NFL offseason. Reagor, to me, I don't know about you guys, is a buy low. If you can get him for a back end second or an early third, that might be proper value. So I don't know if that's technically buying low. But I think I would take that. He was highly regarded coming into the season last year. He did only play 11 games. The biggest part of his fantasy production was he only had the one touchdown, but his yards per catch was he averaged 12.7, which is great. He's averaging a first down every catch. Look for that to be continued into 2021, as well as a positive regression when it comes to touchdowns, because let's face it, there are no real other targets to eat into his production in Philly, along with some consistency at the QB position. Look for Reagor to vault into a top 25 to 30 receiving option this season.
So the Jalen to Jalen connection might be pretty good then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, buddy.
That's also if they don't draft a wide receiver, because a lot of draft boards have them taking.
I mean, even if they do, I don't think that's really going to hurt him. That might only make him more of an option in Philly because he's going to have more space to run around, right? So given a full offseason with Jalen Hurts and a full offseason in the system, it's a new coaching staff, so they're going to have different philosophies with the offense and stuff like that. I mean, I'm invested into the Philadelphia offense this season. It kind of burned me a little last season with Miles Sanders, but I'm looking forward to it, especially with the lack of defensive options in teams like Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
Ooh,
Just had
nice
to
shot.
Throw a little dig in there at the end.
Wow, okay, all right. It's okay. Cowboys are still winning the division. Doesn't matter. Anyways.
I don't know, man.
We'll see.
Nonetheless.
He's ready to cut the episode.
Let's move on to our next segment. First of all, thank that, guys. That was great. A lot of information there. Hope you guys take that into account and send us some messages on Instagram and whatnot, and on YouTube. Let us know, are these your buy lows, sell highs? What do you guys think of these 10, or do you have any other ones that you want us to discuss as well? We'll definitely take that into consideration for later episodes.
I got one honorable mention. Sorry, James. One honorable mention.
I like honorable mentions.
It is Jerry Jeudy. He was one of the great wide receivers drafted last season, and there was one stat that I saw over the weekend, which was he had the most incomplete passes thrown his way that were the QB's fault. So if they can correct that, expect Jerry Jeudy to be one of those guys that sees a positive regression coming into the season.
Even with
saying...
Sutton coming back, though?
Yes, I believe Jerry Jeudy is a buy low. He's a buy low option. If you can get him on the low, buy Jerry Jeudy low. Yeah.
What do they call that stat? Is that the Drew Lock stat?
That is I believe they call it the Detroit Lion QB stat of the year.
No, Chris.
That's not
every
true.
year. Not
You can't
just
say that
year.
about Matt
Every
Stafford.
year.
Come on.
No, I think it was the Joey Harrington Award.
There you go. That's more realistic. John Kitna.
All right. Well,
Go.
let's get into our next segment, guys. We're gonna just have some fun here. This is a new segment that we have. It's called Guess That Player. I'm going to give the guys 5 clues, and you guys got to guess the player before the 5th one, or I will tell you who it is, and we'll keep a little tally of scores and see who does well. So let us get started here.
It's like a game show.
Are we gonna buzz in? Like, should we have a saying each, where and then you
Bazinga.
decide who? So I'll say who dat, and then Frank can say Lions suck, and
All right. If you guys just say something, and first one that says it, I'll go. So, question number 1. I am a quarterback in the NFL. I have career numbers of 6,224 yards, 282 touchdowns, 144 interceptions, for a total of 2,808 fantasy points. Who am I?
Jameis Winston.
Incorrect. Nope. It's a tough one. All right. Let's move on to question.
Hold on.
You want to get? You want to guess off each one?
Oh, it's just one person can guess?
There's more clues.
No, he's got 5
Oh.
clues.
I got more clues coming. They get a little easier as we go. So this is
gonna
obviously the
guess-
hard one.
I'm going to guess.
Is Nick out now?
Hold on.
Yeah, wait, am I out?
Oh, you know what?
I didn't know the rules.
Let's do that. If you guess
you're
and
out,
you're
Nick.
wrong, you're out. I like that.
Oh,
So
okay, then
then
hold
I don't
on.
want to guess. I don't want to guess.
Oh, that's not
We'll let-
fair.
we'll
You're
let
out.
Nick have his guess back. Okay, we'll
Okay,
let Nick
great.
have his guess back.
He's
But
got
now
his
we-
mulligan.
But now we lose our guess, right?
Next question. You each get your own, Frank, so it's fine. I went to the University of Georgia. No, okay.
I think I got it, but I'm just
I
gonna
know somebody from Georgia.
I could go from a 0 to a hero this season in fantasy.
Oh, totally.
I only know one quarterback from Georgia. Right? Actually, no. It's
Who dat? I'm gonna go Matt Stafford.
That is correct. The next clues would have been I traded my blue and silver for blue and yellow. And I used to be a lion, but now I'm a ram.
What was the first clue you gave?
The first clue was his stats. He had 6,224 yards, 282 touchdowns, and 144 interceptions.
6,000
yards. That's not.
He had that one season.
Sorry, 60,000. I missed it. I missed it.
there you go.
I missed it. Oh,
That changes
60,000.
everything.
Sorry. All right, let's move on to
right.
number 2. So Chris is up 1-0. Number 2, I am a wide receiver in the NFL. I have career numbers of 12,896 yards, 60 touchdowns for 1,655 fantasy points. Who am I?
a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true. That's good, Chris.
With 60 touchdowns.
I'll move on to the next one. I lost a $100,000 diamond earring while jet skiing in a Georgia lake.
Oh man, this is on the tip of my tongue. I know this one. Oh,
Anyone?
I've
No?
heard that story before. I just can't put the name to it.
All right. I was drafted 6th overall.
oh man. Give me the school, James.
I love watching the heads go. No, I didn't put the school on purpose because I knew
Give
it'd
me
be
the
too
school,
easy.
James.
All right, I'm gonna butcher this, but let's see how it goes. My real name is Quintorius.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
Yeah.
That is correct, Chris. I didn't know that was his real name. I had no idea.
Yeah.
The number 5 is I went to Alabama.
Oh,
So you were getting it at 5, but yeah,
he's gonna get to school.
some interesting things. I mean, I didn't know he lost the $1,000 diamond earring. That was pretty interesting, and I had no idea that was his real name. So, well done, Chris. Guys, Chris is up 2-0. This is
Snuck that one in.
Number 3. I am a running back in the NFL. I have career numbers of 3,661 rushing yards, 33 TDs for a total of 699 fantasy points. Who am I?
Aaron
You
Jones.
sure that's not 30,000?
I'm sure this time, yes. You are incorrect and out. Next, I was drafted in the 2nd round.
Aaron Jones.
was drafted in the 5th round,
he's
not the
drafted
2nd round.
Drafted in the second
Second round.
He's got 3,000 yards, so he's about 3 to 4
Jamal
years
Williams.
out.
All right, number 3. I took over running back duties from one of the greatest running backs to ever play.
This could be a Cowboy because I know James is high on Emmitt Smith.
He's a
What?
current player.
Yeah, but if he's current, who'd he take over?
Yeah, exactly. So who would be
Oh, I
one
know
of
who
the
it is.
greatest running backs to ever
I know
play
who it
the
is.
game?
You're out.
Dalvin Cook.
There you go.
That is correct. The
See?
next
Oh,
one's
it was
where
like
he has
over
been
AB.
referred to as the chef, and his colors are purple and gold. Well done for Chris. And who was that running back that he took over from? One of the greatest of all time.
Madison.
Adrian
Adrian
Peterson.
Peterson. That is correct. Well done. So, Chris, you smashed the competition. The rest of you need to.
That's it. There's only 3 rounds.
I only did 3. I mean, I didn't know how far
These are
we go
fun.
with this,
This is
so
fun.
I could come up with a bunch more, or you know what, we can mix it up so I can get in on it too, and you guys can come up with some for next episode, and we'll add them to the end or when I need them. So, well, anyways, gentlemen, that's the end of our episode. I hope you all had fun. Thank you guys for listening. Check us out on Instagram at The Fantasy Football War Room. Check us out on YouTube at The Fantasy Football War Room Podcast. And we will see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Ciao.